The following audio may contain the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.
All right, everyone, welcome. You are on the Optavia Habits of Health call, and I'm so glad that you joined us tonight. My name is Lisa Castro, and I'm going to have a special guest on this evening too as we talk about the topic of inflammation. And some people think they know what that is, and others think they don't even have a clue what that's all about. They might think it's a sprained ankle, or it might be inflammation, causing a headache. But we're going to go into a little bit more detail today and just really help you understand more about it and why you'd want to do something about it. So hi, Janice. Glad that you could be on as well. So we're going to go ahead and get started. As people are coming on, if you are with Optavia, you're already familiar with a lot about our program. If you're new to Optavia, you're considering it, please, stay tuned as we go through this presentation as you learn about creating a healthy lifestyle. Knowing people in your life, this is not just about losing weight. So if you have somebody that is wanting to make a lifestyle change, please invite them onto this call. The Zoom number is at the top of the window, and invite them to join us because we want as many people creating health in their life as possible. So I can't wait to get started. So we're going to go ahead and do that now. All right, I'm going to share my screen with you because I have a PowerPoint presentation I'd like to share and bring it to the forefront here with you. And it's, again, I'm Lisa Castro. Dousing the flames of inflammation is what we're going to be talking about tonight. And I wanted to share my story quickly before I begin, just so you'd have a little bit of understanding of where I've come on my journey as it relates to inflammation. This is a picture of me on the left in 2003, and I'm smiling really big, but I'm getting ready to say, don't take my picture. Because at that point, I'd been hiding from the world, and I'd had a lot of health issues. I won't go into the myriad of health issues that I dealt with, but it was not good. It was not a good situation, and I was given a bleak prognosis. And I was able to turn that around through, as my rheumatologist told me, a dramatic lifestyle change. And it started with putting proper nutrition in my body, getting to a healthy weight, adding on exercise, getting better sleep, learning to manage stress, there's just so many things about living a healthy lifestyle that can have an impact on our bodies. If we just work on one thing, it might not make those changes. But if we can put all those things into place over a period of time, as Dr. A says, incorporating one healthy habit at a time will create that transformation in our lives. And as you can see, now it's 2017 as we describe this story, and life has changed dramatically. I'm very fit, very healthy, and been able to help a whole lot of people do the same over the years. So I'm glad that you're here to join us, because we want you to be thinking about, what it is that you really want to create. Why do you want to get to a healthier lifestyle? Find your why. You'll hear that a lot as we talk about creating health. And when you know why you're doing it and what's powerful that will really move you forward, even when life gets a little challenging to move forward through that, you're going to know that you're not only doing it for yourself, but you're doing it for other people to inspire them and also to be a better version of yourself so you can really enjoy a quality of life with people in your life. And at the time, like I said, I was living like a hermit, and being able to create a healthier lifestyle gave me the opportunity to do all kinds of active and vibrant things when in the past it was a struggle to even get out of bed. So what would you like your life to look like? Well, I want to show you one more story. As I shared this, I want you to think about people in your life. This is my grandma. She's no longer with us. She actually passed away back in 2010, 2 days after her birthday. She was determined she was going to make it to her 94th birthday. And the only way she did that was at 86 years old, when she was about as bad off as possible. I mean, she was in ICU with her third heart attack. She had had she'd had multiple strokes. She had uterine cancer, type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, high blood pressure. She was a mess. And but yet she was the matriarch of our family. And there were many times we rushed to the ER after a family gathering. And that totally changed when the doctor and chaplain came out and said, we need to let her go. And we opted to have heart valve surgery against his wishes because he said she'd just die on the table. But not only did she not die on the table, we asked if she could go on our program. And he didn't have faith in that or in her. And he says, why not? She's going to die anyway. Not a good thing to hear from a doctor. And we thought differently. And so we actually asked if we could put her on the program. She started it. She lost 110 pounds and at 86 years old. And that was the start of her creating a healthy lifestyle and really inspiring so many people, saying, it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. What can you do to turn it around? And she lived, like I said, another 8 years. And I think those were probably her best years ever because she knew she had meaning and purpose in her life, knowing that her story was inspiring others. And I show the picture of her, a photo at the end there. She just had so much spunk. She liked the sparklies. And she's just a lot of fun to be around. And I remember, I'm going to take you back to a time when she utilized Dr. A, our medical director's Habits of Health books. She had his book and books next to her chair till the day she died, literally. And she even would take it to her doctor's office and she'd point to the book and say, Doctor, I won't say his name, you need to read this book. And she was preaching it left and right. She's actually the oldest coach on record at Optavia at the time. And so she, like I said, she inspired a lot of people. And when Dr. A had come to our house at one point a few years ago, my grandma came over to get a signed copy of the book where her picture is in the book. And it was just a beautiful thing. And he kisses her on the lips as he's saying goodbye to her. And as we left, she's touching her lips and she's saying, I'll never wash my face again. It was the cutest thing. And then after she passed away and we were going to her gravesite to bury her, and it's kind of, I don't think of it as morbid. It was a very touching time. But Dr. A autographed a book that we could put with her in her remains. And it was, she had said that her family thought that she was her hero. And he wrote in there that she was his hero. And that was just a beautiful thing that I want to share with you because you never know how many lives you can touch when you take care of yourself and how much longer and how much more quality you can have in your life when you apply creating a healthy lifestyle. Whew, sorry, a little touched by the story still to this day. So I'm encouraging you guys. There is a reason why we encourage the habits of health. And the lesson we're going to be talking about today is in the companion guide on page 111. You can go back to this recorded version to find out all the pages, or you can just go straight to your Habits of Health book, go to the lesson on 15, and then it'll tell you which books to read in the Habits of Health. That's the way it's designed. Dr. A built it so that one lesson led to another and they built on each other so that by the time you've gotten through the book, you have learned so much about having a healthy lifestyle. And one of the chapters that I'm so fond of is the immune system and talking about inflammation because that's what I dealt with. So if you learn about the stresses that can cause issues with your body, we can do things to change them. You're going to discover the adverse effects that our environment can have on us if we don't put ourselves in a healthy environment. And then learning those habits that can beat inflammation and premature aging. I'm really all about that one. I'm defying my age, that's for sure. I keep saying, what can I do to increase my health? Because I turned my inflammation around. And I have a health of, like I said, just one of vitality. And I've overcome a disease that I was told I wouldn't be able to. And I can't say, out of compliance, I need to keep that to where that's something, my own personal journey. We can't guarantee what could happen for you, but we know when you take care of your body, it's going to take care of you better. So at the end of the presentation and the end of that chapter, it talks about creating what we call a structural tension chart for a healthy immune system. And what that means is I'll describe later as we go to the end of the presentation. So I wanted to quote Dr. A. So it's coming from his mouth. This is how he looks at it. He says, by avoiding behaviors and conditions that stimulate your immune system and by actively developing habits that limit stress and lessen inflammation, you optimally can position yourself for a lifetime of health. What do you want your lifetime to be? Would you rather put some time and effort, energy, and maybe even finances into be able to have a longer quality life? Or would you like to pay it towards all the medical bills and not have as good a quality with yourself and the people in your life? So in short layman's terms, here's a visual for you. Is that habit that you're doing right now going to add fuel to your inflammation or is it going to extinguish the inflammation? That's what, if you visually think that as you're making a choice, is this going to add to or take away from the inflammation? So the immune system, it's our friend. It's there to heal our body. It serves us well. It combats disease. It protects our body from intruders. It sends white blood cells and bombards invading bacteria, viruses, and parasites. That sounds good. I wanted a good, healthy immune system. How about you guys? All right. So how about what else is it good for? It's really about having 24/7 on-call emergency service. When you've got a cut or you've got that cold coming on, it comes into full force and saying, how can I help with this? Then the ability to seek out intruders. It's like there might be something that's even a splinter. If you think about it, your immune system is trying to gather around that to take care of that splinter and heal. Most complex system in our body, you bet it is, and restores balance to an unbalanced body. But you know what? That same friend can also become your foe. Why? Because long-term exposure to hyperactivities, meaning that if something is overboard where you don't have balance in it, you can get overstimulated by stress type breathing. Think about how you breathe, and I'll talk about that a little bit later, and how much you eat and what you eat, and drink and how much you drink. Visually, are you overstimulated? There is so much visual stuff these days. We are in front of a stimulus all the time. It's our camera, our phones, our TVs, computers. We find ourselves continually being visualized, having that visual stimulation where it's even harder to sleep at night because of it. How we feel, not only just feel, with our fingertips, the things that we can be stimulated with, but even our feelings. Feeling that stress and how we're responding to it, our thoughts, and hear and think, and how, if we're even sitting too long. It's amazing how just sitting too long can have an effect on our bodies. Having extra pounds around the middle especially is a major contributor to affecting the immune system in a negative way, because now the immune system is like on full alert. And if it has to overwork itself, it can actually harm other things in the process. So this is what the inflammation cycle looks like. There's the external environment, meaning the things that come from outside your world, your body, chemicals and toxins, through things you inhale, ingest, skin exposure. It could even be from stress that we were talking about, and stress can be a lot of things to different people, and little things can really be a stress for someone, and others it might take something big. It's how we respond to something. And then allergens. Oh my goodness, how about some of the people who have spring fever? You're fine or spring allergies. I say spring fever because I'm allergic to the sun. It causes me to go out and play. I don't know if that's considered a toxin, but you can have too much UV exposure too, and radiation. So those are the external things that can affect the inflammation in your body. Then there's the internal environment. That can be things like chronic infections, sinus infections, viruses, the visceral fat, that's the belly fat around, that causes so many health issues like diabetes and things like that. And then lack of sleep. You would not believe how many of us put sleep last, when actually that is one of the most significant things that can really help heal your body. It kind of resets it, reboots it at night when we get a good night's sleep. Overuse of antibiotics. It's kind of ironic. We take antibiotics to heal our bodies, but if we use it too much, pretty soon our immune system it just ends up needing more and more antibiotics to affect it, and it just gets less and less useful. And then food, those things that we're consuming and taking into our body. So one's happening outside of our body, one's happening inside of our body, and one's what we're putting into our body. So that's the part that we have probably the best and easiest control over, is what we're putting into our body. So that being said, look at all of the diseases that are related to what is called oxidative stress. Those things that are those stimulants that cause stress around in your body. Man, there's so many. Some have more research behind them than others. I don't know if you can see what they are. If you're listening on a podcast, there's everything from diabetes, heart disease, cancers, arthritis, asthma. There's anything from, they're even saying some people with dementia, because of the stress and keeping your, aging process, hypertension. I know that autoimmune disease like lupus is very much affected by stress. So just think about even athletic performance. You can overstimulate. Even a hard workout causes temporary inflammation, allowing it to recover afterwards. So there's so many things. All right, that being said, some people think it's this acute inflammation. And it's like, it's going to, I have to have something major happen, and then my immune system will be affected by it. But it can actually be a chronic low grade. Like you might go without sleep for a week and it's going to affect you. I don't know anybody, myself, that'd be an awfully long time. But it can even be just when your body needs 8 hours of sleep and you're only getting 6. And that can lead to something over a period of time. So, and it can be little things that we just don't take care of that can add up and cause degenerative diseases and aging. So knowing that those innocent bystanders can be hurt by that silent enemy of an overactive immune system from all the different things we aren't doing to take care of our body, it can actually hurt our heart, our blood vessels, our brain, our pancreas, our kidneys, and other blood-rich organs. And think about it, things like systematic lupus, those are the things the immune system is attacking. So and keep those things in mind as we go through the presentation a little bit further. Here's some helpful hints. I'm going to go over a few of them, but you can look it up, and I really encourage you to do it for yourself. There's something about, you might be passively listening right now, but when you actively engage in that book and you start filling out that workbook and notice some of the changes you can make, you're going to find yourself wanting to apply them a lot more. They'll become part of you instead of just something you're hearing. So one of them is to maintain the healthy weight by lowering the calories. Our program, the 5-in-1 and other versions of that are great for that. Eating good fats, omega-3s, monounsaturated, the saturated fats are what we're trying to avoid. So, and trans fats, things like that. So you can see through this, there's a great list. Even overcooking. Did you know charring your food on a grill is harmful to you? That's definitely one of the things for cancer as well. Eating healthy things like fruits and vegetables, the low glycemic kind, they're rich in antioxidants. Now, on the weight loss phase of our program, you'd be avoiding fruits, but you can have those darker leafy vegetables, which will give you the same kind of nutrients. And then more fiber, whole grains, obviously avoiding sugar and highly refined carbs and high fructose corn syrup. Those are definitely things that will help with the immune system. So these are things you're taking in that will make a difference there. So, and then having modest amounts of antioxidant rich supplements. And then some people, if you do drink red wine and small amounts, and dark chocolate, I'll say this to myself, small amounts, and then green tea in small amounts. You can actually get too much green tea extract, and that could be unhealthy for your body if you get too much. So stress and inflammation, here's a list of some stress reducing ideas. De-stress at your job, learn good communication skills. That will actually help very much. So in marriages, other relationships, communication is a great way to de-stress. Exercise, that's my number one favorite way to de-stress. Now, if you're on the 5-in-1 and it's not time for you to start exercising, talk to your coach about some things that you could do along with these other things here. Socializing, getting around people makes such a huge difference. And then going natural, doing walks, getting out in the environment whenever you can, and treating your body to a massage, or possibly if you do yoga or warm bath, meditation. That's something I really enjoy doing as well on a daily basis. And then laugh. When I see someone getting too serious, I tell my favorite joke. And even on a call as a health coach, I'll do that. And it's pretty funny to get somebody to smile, because that releases some wonderful endorphins, just like exercise. So focusing on the positive. How many times have we done self-talk when nothing necessarily is happening that wrong, but we'll start telling ourselves how it is, and we can build it up to where we can cause our own stress internally when there's not even anything happening right then, but we've got the story created in our mind to create that. So having an attitude of gratitude can overcome so much when it comes to negative thoughts. So deep breathing, powerful. Learning to breathe from your belly. Dr. A goes into detail in the Habits of Health book and his Stop, Challenge, Choose book. If you're finding yourself, put your hand on your chest and your hand on your belly. And when you breathe, is it coming from your chest? If so, it's actually kind of creates a little bit more stress. But if it's coming from your belly with a little bit of movement from your chest, you're doing the right thing. And then taking it slow in and slow out with a slight pause in between. And then Stop, Challenge, Choose. Anybody ever see this before? Thinking about your desired outcome. What do I want my life to look like? Will this next habit lead me closer to or take me further away from what I truly want in my life. Dr. A goes into more detail in the book. So we're going to stop that reactive mode just long enough. And then we're going to challenge ourselves why we're feeling the way we are. And instead of putting food in our mouth because we're having an emotion or a stress or anything such as that, you say, but I want to choose health. So what I'm going to do instead is my deep breathing, or take a couple of big drinks of water, or I'm going to make that healthy choice with my eating, or I'm going to go and take a quick walk. One of those things that we talked about before. So as I go through those stress things, I have somebody I wanted to get prepared for when he's coming up next here as I talk about how we douse those fires. We've talked about exploring new ways, making wiser food choices. Dr. A's book has all kinds of choices that are great for overcoming inflammation, and then a list of ones that can cause inflammation. Clean up living environment. Those toxic chemicals we use to clean our house, you might want to consider getting some that aren't toxic for everyone's sake, and then de-stressing for a healthy immune system, and develop habits to limit stress and inflammation, and then live better. We say a life of well-being. So one of the things that, there was a story in here for Mike Mike, it looks like somehow I've lost your pictures. I apologize for that. And I might have put them a little bit lower, but we'll come to those later. Do you want to go ahead and just take yourself off mute and see if you can describe where you were? I'm going to stop sharing so you can.
Thank you so much, Lisa, for having me.
Mike Moran, glad you could be on the call with us this evening.
For sure. Well, I'm just excited to be here. And I was taking a ton of notes. Oh my gosh, that's so good. Everything you were just teaching is so true. And you were taking me down memory lane, and probably a lot of you listening, right? So here's where I was. I was the type that ate whatever I wanted and did whatever I wanted and lived an extreme life, traveling all over the country, doing all these crazy things. And it was really fun, but the lifestyle was very stressful. And I didn't fuel myself at all. I didn't have that concept of fueling, and it was just food. I was hungry. I needed to eat, right? And man, it came to a head. And here's what just blew my mind. When you were mentioning bronchitis, sinus infection, antibiotics, lack of sleep, me, how many? Me, oh, me. And it just, I had to write these down because I was dealing with those things chronically all the time. Like, Summer, what's wrong with me? And I will go back, let's just, go back about 13 years. About 13 years ago is when everything came to a head. I woke up in the middle of the night. I had been under so much stress. Summer was at home with our 2.5-year-old while she's pregnant with our second. And I was out and about doing all these things, really, really busy. It was awesome. It was ministry work. We were helping other people, but man, it was just too much. And I came to the breaking point physically, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, like all parts of me completely failed all at once, it seemed. And I woke up in the middle of the night, probably 2 a.m, and the floor felt tilted, the bed felt weird, the wall felt tilted. I just had I guess it would be a vertigo attack, a dizziness attack, where I felt like I had the flu and the room was spinning. Definitely not a fun house, but it kind of felt like that, but no fun involved in that. It was horrible. Absolutely horrible. So I think I went to the bathroom and I laid back down, just crashed, fell asleep, woke up the next morning feeling like I had the flu. And I thought, oh, that's what I have, is the flu. And come to find out I didn't have the flu. Didn't even know. Went to the doctor. Well, your blood test looks good. That just, the quick test of things. They didn't really find anything going on. And that birthed in me my health journey. So I went on this quest. I have to get better. So I think I did the pendulum swing from Taco Bell and Mountain Dew over to I just want to eat vitamins all day. Just give me those. If that's going to fix me, I'll do that. And I went very extreme on my own journey, and I was all alone. Nobody could relate to it. And I think it was helping me a little bit, but it was so extreme. Those stresses were weighing on me still. That mindset of me running. So imagine running. In the scary movies when people are running, from the monster or the bad guy, they always look back. It's like, guys, why are you looking back? Just go forward. And I was looking back constantly at the things I was running from. And it caused me to continually trip. I kept looking back like, oh, what am I? Okay, I'm going to run from that now. And then I trip. And it was getting old. And my kids were getting older and older and older and began to understand that daddy gets sick a lot. So I'd have these episodes every once in a while. Well, actually, a lot. And I'd be laying in bed and they'd knock on the door. And I tried to hide this and shield this from them and really everyone as much as possible, because I don't want to weigh people down with my burdens, right? You know? So I'm laying in bed and I don't know how many times I hear the, Daddy, can you come play? Or are you too sick today? Just so sweet. Little 5-year-olds don't need that weight of responsibility on them. And that's when I clicked again, like I must do something about this. I have to get through this for them. And then I found Optavia. And my life has never been the same. And it only gets better every day because I have a growth mindset. So now my head is focused this way. I'm not running from anything. I'm running to what I desire to create. How cool, like Dr. A says, how cool is that? It really is. It's amazing because everything you just mentioned, the nitty gritty, and I want to challenge everybody with these decisions, these secondary action steps, we call them, that you're making every day. You're deciding to eat and fuel your body a different way, and you're drinking a lot of water for those of you that are brand new. Those things can create a new future for you, and that's the future I'm living in right now. It's absolutely amazing. And that's what this community has given me. And that's what I found is, oh, I'm not an oddball. You know, I do fit in. There are people like me and people that care for me, and that's who Optavia has been to me. I found freedom. I found the most amazing friends in the world, people that back me up, people that are behind me. I found steps and habits that I can build and build and build upon every day that are creating this freedom for me. So I could go on and on about how amazing this has been, but truthfully, these habits are absolutely powerful. And I encourage all of you, take hold of these habits like they're your friend, like you love them, like you're my friend habit of sleep. That has revolutionized my life. Eating 6 smaller meals a day has completely changed. I mean, I used to kind of have a swollen face and that stuff's gone. The inflammation has gone way down. And because of those things and because of these people in this group, it's a whole new world for me. It's a whole new life. And I found freedom. And for me, I became a coach. And with that, I believe, wow, now I'm helping others do the same thing. It's unbelievable. It's just been simply an unbelievable ride. And I'm really excited about the future.
Yeah, we were talking earlier, Mike, and how, you becoming a coach, you realized that you'd taken the focus off yourself and onto others, and how that created it created a healing inside of you the way you described it. Would that be accurate?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Because I turned outward instead of inward, trying to fix myself and all these things. Let me help you. And I realized as I was helping, oh, well, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm sleeping pretty good. What's going on here? How'd that happen? That's because I'm not focused on, again, it's that same thing. I'm not focused on what I'm running from. I'm focused on what I'm running.
You got into what we refer to as, instead of the reactive state, you got into the creative state. And that just automatically decreased the stress because you knew you were creating something. It's amazing how that gives you peace instead of tension. I like peace better. How about you?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take
You'll take door number 2. Yeah, okay. So that's great. So I'm going to go. I actually put together, as you were talking, a slide of your story, and you can see his dramatic. Even though he only lost a little bit of weight because he went on the 5-on-1 and realized what it was like to eat smaller, balanced meals throughout the day and watch the glycemic index. And then also, working on his sleep. And I remember when we talked originally and all the health issues he was having and scared about it. But to be able to release that and live a full life, watching Mike, it's been a really cool journey with your family. And I love the one of your family up in the upper right-hand corner. You guys are having some fun. Now you're the dad that you wanted to be before, and you don't have to hide anymore. You get to be out there and live life full. And as we say, your bigger life, right? All right, so I need to wrap up here, but I wanted to share with you a way that we can know how we're doing with our inflammatory markers. If you've not had this blood test done before, I really encourage you to do it. Dr. A encourages you to do it. A C-reactive protein, he specifies it by saying HS, and I can't tell you what that stands for right now, but you can look it up on that same chapter on page 113, and it's a way to know where this marker for major role in many stress states, including heart disease. So you look what yours is, because as Dr. A says, for ultra health, less than 0.5 means that you are considered ultra health. I think it's under 1 is optimal health, and mine is less than 0.2. And so I'm really proud to carry my number around. I feel like wearing a t-shirt that says less than 0.2, because that's a major victory over where I was. I mean, it's miraculous. So what could you do to increase that? And then there's an evaluation at the front of his book that if you go through it with the blood test, take the blood test that he mentions in there, fill it out, and you're going to see what your score is. And if it's low, don't look at that as, oh, it's discouraging. Look at it as, I've got my starting point, because this part is the part I really want you to be aware of, is there's a structural tension chart in the book, and it talks about where do you want your immune system to be, and it's got the marker of HSCRP. When you have that test done, put at the top of what you have your goal to be. Then put at the bottom where you're starting. And then what you're going to do, that's your vision of what you want, your current reality, and then you're going to fill in the secondary choices that will lead to you having a better C-reactive protein. And I'd put on there first, and we usually start from the bottom, and we say, okay, so that first thing is I'm going to get my blood test done. Or it might even be that you take the evaluation, and then secondly, get the blood test done. Then if you're not if you need to get it to a healthy weight, in that healthy zone, you'll put that in there, get to my healthy BMI zone of, or my body composition of this, or whatever. And you start getting 8 hours of sleep a night. When you start adding these things in, now you're not going to do them all overnight. And if you try, you're going to probably get yourself frustrated. But what if you said, I'm going to go to bed 15 minutes earlier? I'm going to, and just give yourself some baby steps so that those baby steps you can have wins, and then add another 15 minutes and then another 15 minutes, and you'll continue to have wins, and give yourself a timeline of when you're going to accomplish these things. You can break it down into a month, 2 months, 6 months, you decide. And then, so you put a date to it, and that's going to be what really inspires you to keep moving forward. And it's going to let you know that you're on track for creating either an optimally healthy life or an ultra healthy life, depending on what you're seeking. I'm in the ultra healthy category, and I'm so grateful for that, despite the health issues of my past and my family history, because I added more and more healthy habits in it, and I do it on a regular basis. So 14, almost 15 years later, it's amazing what you can do with those healthy habits. And then with those healthy habits, I got to do a plug for this, Optavia Ignite. If you have not heard about this, please talk to your Optavia coach about this, because this is where you get to share your life of transformation into well-being and describe the things that you have changed in your life. You've heard a couple of stories here tonight. What's yours? Could your story inspire another? And then there's also some benefits back to you for doing that. So the intrinsic motivation of inspiring, and the extrinsic that you'll be rewarded for it. So you'll find out as you talk to your Optavia coach more details. And both Mike and I really thank you for being on the call tonight. And I know hopefully you're going to be sharing some of this with your coach and the things that you've been learning and the people in your world as we go through the holiday season, creating some more healthy habits. Let's make it different this year. All right. Thanks, everyone.
This audio may have contained the personal testimonials of some Optavia coaches or clients of Optavia. The results relayed in these messages are based on the unique experiences of the participants, and we cannot guarantee like or similar outcomes. While you may be inspired by these accounts, please note that any stories of success have not been verified, and your individual path to optimal health will vary. As always, it is our recommendation that you consult with a healthcare provider before starting a weight loss program. Yours in health, the Optavia team.